Good morning. Welcome to United First Parish Church. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your journey, welcome to our Unitarian Universalist spiritual community. We're delighted to welcome any guests we may have here with us this morning. You can learn more about our congregation on our website, www.ufpc.org. Also on our website, folks can find and download our order of service for this morning's service. It includes hymn lyrics, and we will also be pasting those hymn lyrics in the chat as we go along. I'm the Reverend Rebecca Froom, minister here. Our worship leaders this morning on screen and behind screen include our Director of Religious Education, Joan McDonald, our digital usher, Clyde Courtwright. Much of our music this morning is provided by percussion player Matt Meyer. We'll also have 2 pieces of special music. For these online services, we invite you to engage in whatever way is most accessible to you this morning. I always love to see your beautiful faces, so if you feel comfortable, leave your camera on and turn on gallery view once in a while so we can see one another, even though we are far apart. And if you are just feeling a lot of Zoom fatigue or pandemic fatigue this morning, feel free to keep that camera off if that will help you be most present with yourself and this service. Note that we do record these services to be posted on YouTube at a later date. We invite everyone to stay online after the service for our virtual social hour. It always includes breakout groups to reflect on the themes of the service. Today, we will also have a small group opportunity at 12 noon to continue to share our stories and memories of Jane Mudge. This morning, our first Sunday of the church year, of the new year, we traditionally have a service of letting go that has recently taken the form of a fire ceremony. Here, as we gather for online worship, we work with the tools at hand. We are not able to release and let go of memories and experiences from the past year by casting them into our fireplace. So we work with the tools at hand, and some of those tools this morning could be paper and pen, a pair of scissors, a paper shredder, some combination of these tools. If you have them nearby, do keep them nearby. And we'll have other opportunities for people to participate regardless of your access to pen and paper or a paper shredder. And now let us center ourselves for worship by taking a deep breath together as we lift our hearts for the call to worship.
Our call to worship words come from Reverend Gretchen Haley. It starts here, in this moment, in this breath. You feel rising in your chest, this beat building between us, the healing, the hunger, the hope, the courage, the calling, the commitment, the drawing out of a new day. It begins now, in the imagination, in this story we weave together, this song we sing, this prayer we bring into being from our hearts to our lips, from our hands to our life, our shared life. It starts here with praise and thanksgiving, forgiveness, and this humble, centering confession that we could be wrong, this promise that we make to keep learning, to keep trying, to keep our sense of humor, to keep close, this knowing that we are all in this together. Come, let us begin. Come, let us worship together.
I invite folks, if you have a chalice or a candle nearby, to light that candle or chalice as I share reading, as we light our chalice, symbol of the Unitarian Universalist faith tradition. These words are by Cynthia Landrum. In the cold of winter, we gather ourselves in to light the fire, to warm our spirits, to kindle the flame of love and hope. Now let us join in reading our congregation's covenants. The words will appear on the screen. As a free fellowship of this historic church, we unite to lift our hearts and open our minds to a larger reality, to accept, support, and encourage one another, to seek the wisdom in all religions, to cherish and sustain the web of life, and to strive for justice, compassion, and peace. Our opening hymn this morning is Bright Morning Star. The words combine traditional words and new lyrics by Matt Meyer, who will be leading us in this song. We will paste the lyrics in the chat. From our own homes, let us lift our voices in song.
Even though we're far apart, I still invite you to sing together on this song. Bright Morning Star, with some new words and perhaps an unfamiliar melody. I'll sing it once through and then we'll try it together. Bright morning star, rise, and bright morning star, rise, and bright morning star, rise, and day is breaking in my soul. Let's try that. Bright morning star, rise, and bright morning star, rise, and bright morning star, rise, and day is breaking in my soul. Rise up from morning slumber, rise up from morning slumber, rise up from morning slumber. Day is breaking in my soul. Rise up and hear your calling, rise up and hear your calling, rise up and hear your calling. Day is breaking in my soul. Bright morning star, rise, and bright morning star, rise, and bright morning star, rise, and day is breaking in my soul. Oh, lift your voice to heaven, oh, lift your voice to heaven, oh, lift your voice to heaven. Day is breaking in my soul. We'll build this faith together, we'll build this faith together, we'll build this faith together. Day is breaking in my soul. Bright morning star, rise, and bright morning star, rise, and bright morning star, rise, and day is breaking in my soul. Day is breaking in my soul. Day is breaking in my soul.
Let us take a deep breath together, feeling that spirit of life, that spirit of love that moves within, between, and beyond us all. As we honor this shared breath of life and love, let us open our hearts for the sharing of our joys and sorrows. This is a time for us to briefly share those life milestones that lift our spirits in joy or hope, or those pains and losses that fill us with heartache. As we enter this time of sharing, we light a candle of joy, knowing that a joy shared is a joy magnified, and also a candle of sorrow, knowing that a sorrow shared is a sorrow diminished. I begin our sharing with the very sad news that Jane Mudge died on New Year's Day from abdominal aneurysm. Jane was a long-term member of this congregation. She's been part of our community for decades. We've been sharing some memories in the chat, remembering her involvement with the book group, the meditation group, and so much more. Jane was a retired nurse who continued to stay actively connected with her colleagues, even into this point in her mid-80s. I'll be in conversation with the family later this weekend to think about ways to honor her with a memorial service. For today, as this loss is fresh on our hearts, we'll have the opportunity at 12 noon to stay in this Zoom room to share more memories about Jane. And now, in this time of joys and sorrows, let us hold together a time of silent memory to honor Jane's life, to mourn our loss. Join me. May Jane's memory be a blessing. And let us open our hearts to one another for the sharing of our joys and sorrows. Please raise your hand. As we end our sharing, we light a final candle, representing all of those joys and all of those sorrows that we hold silently in the sanctuary of our hearts. May the light of these candles and the compassion of this community remind us that wherever we are on our journey, each of us is worthy of love, and each of us is able to love. Let us take a deep breath together, feeling again that spirit of life, that spirit of love that is always, always there to ground and guide us. Let us take a deep breath together, appreciating the gift of this day, appreciating the gift of our own bodies, and breathing together. Let us enter a time of shared sacred stillness. Will you lift your hearts and join me in the spirit of prayer, listening in these words for the language of faith most meaningful to you? Eternal presence, known in many ways, known by many names. We gather this morning as a community of memory and hope, a community of care and connection. In these challenging times, we lift our hearts to all those who are struggling with their health, all of those facing new diagnoses, all of those recovering from illness or injury, all of those living through and with pain. We open our hearts to those among us, our friends, our neighbors, our family, who are recovering from COVID, some fighting for their lives, some feeling the return of energy and vitality. In this time when we are so aware of our mortality, so aware of the limitations and strengths of our human bodies, let there be comfort for all, abundant health, and may we continue to care for one another with love. We open our hearts to all those who are living with grief, fresh griefs, old griefs. May loss remind us of love shared, and may the memory of those who have gone before always be a blessing. Spirit of life, whose other name is love, there is also so much joy and so much gratitude in our hearts. We give thanks for the gift of friendship, for the care of this community. We acknowledge our yearning to be together, acknowledge the loneliness, the isolation, the pain that can be behind that yearning, as well as the joy, the laughter, the care, the love connection that brings us into this virtual community where we gather heart to heart, screen to screen. In this time of great suffering, in this time of abundant hope, let us continue to journey with one another with hearts open, hearts that are whole and hearts that are breaking. And as we journey together, heart to heart, let us imagine a world of equality, of compassion, of care. And through our own actions, our own connections with one another, let us strive to bring that more beautiful world into being. We pray this in love's name. Amen. And blessed be. Let us open our hearts and our ears for our choral anthem.
There will be better days. 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 Let the wave wash over. There will be better days. There will be better days. There will be better days. I am there will be better days. 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 Let the wave wash over. There will be better days. There will be better days. There will be better days. Let the wave wash over. There will be better days. There will be better days. Let the wave wash over. There will be better days. There will be better days. There will be better days. I am there will be better days. better days. There will be better days.
Once more, we find ourselves at the turning of a year. And what a year we have had. 2020 is a year that many of us have been eager to let go of. John Oliver, the comedian, literally blew up a sign of 2020. And as usual, we come to a time of reflection in this service, in this first service in January. A time when we think about what we want to let go of from the previous year. There's so much we could let go of. Toxic politics, a pandemic that continues to rage, that has killed hundreds of thousands in this country alone. There's so much anxiety, stress, fear, isolation that we might want to let go of. So on this Sunday, as we come to a close of a terribly hard year, I invite you to think about what you want to let go of. Perhaps something and how you've been responding to this hard year. Perhaps something you've observed in this hard year. In a moment, we will have a time of musical reflection. And if you have a piece of pen and paper on hand, you can go ahead and write what it is that you would like to let go of. And in a moment after the meditation, we'll have the opportunity to cut up or shred those things that we want to let go of. I also invite you to use the chat to write the words of that which you want to let go of from 2020. And Joan and I will make sure that those words will be shredded alongside the words that we write on our pieces of paper. So let us look inward. Let us look outwards. Let us look backwards to the last 12 months. And let us look to this present moment as we consider, what do we want to let go of from the year 2020? As you continue to write in the chat that which you wish to let go of, or that which you, or write on a paper yourself that which you want to let go of, we come into a 2021 variation of our traditional fire ceremony. We cannot gather in our parlor together for that cathartic release of burning what we want to let go of. So we work with the tools at hand, which for me includes a paper shredder. So I've written down some of what is in the chat, and hereby let go of, release, and leave behind, shred all that we want to let go of from 2020. May we be able to release that which holds us back, lighten our hearts, so that we can move forward into this new year. May it be so.
So this morning I want to share a personal story about paper. In the early 90s, I was working on finishing my bachelor's degree at Lesley University. And one of the requirements for my degree was to complete an art class. But since the program was an independent study, I was able to design the project the way I wanted it to be. So I decided to work on a mask making project because I had a really big interest in myth, meaning making, and identity. So imagine at this time, I'm a single mom with 3 girls, age 5, 7, and 11, and my access to resources was limited. And although I would have loved to create my project in ceramics, I didn't have access to a clay studio. So with a little ingenuity, I developed a project using paper mache to form these masks. And so I might take some newspaper that I've wadded up, and I would have used strips of paper similar to what we just shredded today. Or if you don't have a shredder, I just kind of tore the papers apart. And I would, instead of using flour, which I think is a typical mix, I would be using like soaking it and then adding some Elmer's glue. And one of the other things that I kind of developed was taking shredded paper, and I've got a nice bowl here, and I would drop the shredded paper and let it soak for a while. I would add Elmer's glue to this, and sometimes I would add stone dust, and it would over time make a nice paper clay. So similar to what I now use in ceramics. So being creative can be really difficult sometimes. And unfortunately, the setting that I did a lot of my creating was not ideal. So my work consisted of a crowded counter in my galley-sized kitchen at the time, where I would paste layers of newspaper and paper bags to make those masks forms. I might work on the dining room table, which was half filled with empty glasses of juice, plates, paper, crayons, and my daughters competing for what little space that we had available. And as I worked, 2 repairmen came in to fix the oven, which exploded into sparks maybe the evening before. And on other days, I might be cut short by requests for the kids to go to the pool. And then there was the interruptions of phone calls. And obviously this was in the 90s, so cell phones were not available for people without resources. So there'd be phone calls for my daughters, requests for something to eat, music playing from different sources, and kind of the constant flow of kids from the neighborhood kind of running in and out of the apartment. But despite the setting and the interruptions, I continued, and in a rush to be finished with one step, combating the typical humidity of summer, I'd put the masks in the oven to dry. And if I didn't remember to check on them often enough, they might warp. And if I had hoped for perfection, I typically didn't receive it, or at least whatever my mind imagined never quite came out in the creative process, which is not unusual. There are moments of success when even what didn't turn out exactly right was really satisfying. And I've discovered that no matter what the masks look like, it's that process of creating and using my hands and my imagination and transforming the newspaper and the paper, these things that right now have a lot more meaning as we've all shredded something that we want to let go of and created something beautiful. And that's kind of the reward that I get. And so luckily I had one mask left that I haven't tossed away, or that I made. This was in 1995. And so it's made out of paper mache and paper clay. It kind of looks like wood just because of what I've done. But kind of hanging on to these things, can hang on the wall. Just reminds me of those kind of crazy times when I was a single parent and with young kids, and kind of the satisfaction of the work that I've been able to do.
This is the keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going on song. This is the keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going on song. This is the keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going on song. I am Abigail, and this is Sean, and we're so glad that you've turned this on and welcomed us into your home, and you are welcome into our home. We're in Dayton, Ohio. We're in Sean's parents' house.
My parents' house.
Sean's parents' house. We were in Louisville when the shit hit, and we packed our 3-year-old into a car. We drove kind of far. We drove here, and we've been so lucky and blessed to be safely here. And we thought we'd be here for like 10 days, tops.
What did we know?
What did we know?
What
What did we know? We thought we knew a lot. We thought we knew a lot. Keep going, keep going, keep going on song. This is a keep going, keep going, keep going on song. This is a keep going, keep going, keep going on song. And we've been mostly healthy. We've been okay. Are you okay? Are you all right? Are you okay? Are you all right? Are you okay? I hope your body is whole tonight. And if your heart is breaking, I hope it's breaking open. And if your breath is shaking, I hope it's shaking through. And I hope that you've watched a lot of really great television, like a lot of it. And I hope that you find a hand lotion that actually makes your skin feel better. And I hope that you have enough to eat. I hope you're getting enough sleep, and I hope you have enough good company or enough good memory to last you a long time. Keep going, keep going, keep going on song. We sing the keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going on, keep going on.
This year, we have kept going on imperfectly, with pain, with suffering, with confusion, with joy, with insight. We have kept going on. This year, things have been terribly sad and terribly challenging. And yet this has also been a year of graduations, births, anniversaries, adoptions, reconnecting with family and friends. This has been a year where, as we keep going on, we discover the edges of our own resilience, our own ability to adapt. There's a poem from my colleague, Reverend Elizabeth Wynn. It goes like this: New year, new you. There is no new you. Thank God and everyone else, though, there is in old you. At the end of December 2019, I procrastinated reflecting on the year, she writes. At 4:15 p.m. on January 5th, 2020, I wrote down all the things I wanted to leave behind in 2019. Defensiveness, coffee, adrenaline-fueled hazes of activity, brittleness, fantasies of individualism, holding it all together, procrastination. I pretended to burn them because I was too lazy to actually, and lit a candle instead, which my very understanding reflection guide gave me permission to do. Elizabeth continues, at 3 p.m. on January 6th, the light was perfect and golden, and temperatures above impossible, and I thought it would be nice to go outside. At 3:10, it seemed very hard to open the door, and I had so much to do. At 3:22 p.m., I thought I really must go. Short January days are no joke. At 3:37, I told my housemate, I am going outside. At 4 p.m., thought there is no point at all is lost. At 4:10, I made it out of the house. Everything was winter evening glow and pink and orange and lovely. At 4:30 p.m., my phone died, and with it, my music, because while not impossibly cold, it was still cold. I ran past the glow and into dark blue and night. I ran with only the sound of my breath and the orange line. My breath, which has allowed me to make it to this new year, to an old me. Thank God and everyone else. And thank you, Reverend Elizabeth Wynn, for that poem. There is an old you. Thank God and everyone else. That old year has gotten you to this moment, January 3rd, 2021. Often in this service, after thinking of something to release from the previous year, we then reflect on something to bring in for the coming year. But today in this service, I want us to think about something to hold on to from the previous year. Something that has helped you run this proverbial marathon through this time of COVID-19, through this time of structural racism, through this time of divisive politics, through this time of your own individual losses. What has helped you get here? For Jane, it was continuing to read. It was continuing to meditate even in her own home. It was staying in touch with family and friends over the phone. For my friend Elizabeth, it has been running. It has been noticing the beauty of the day. And so as we enter a second time of brief musical reflection, Think to yourself, what do I want to hold on to from 2020 that will help me in 2021? You can go ahead and write those reflections on paper in your own home or write them into the chat. Let us reflect together. There is so much for us to hold on to. Resilience, good humor, friends, family, the animal kindred in our lives, ways of self-care. When we named what to let go of, we put it into our sacred paper shredder. What shall we do with our naming of what to hold on to? Let's return to Joan's story for a moment of making paper mache art under the challenging conditions of a very full, small kitchen. A memory which is intermingled with the chaotic joy of parenting. The art Joan makes is imperfect, and the art Joan makes is beautiful. The art she has made, the memory of her creative process, it includes the joy of that moment and the challenge of that moment. What imperfect beauty will we create together in 2021? How will we continue to take care of ourselves, to be grateful for all of the blessings we have? How will we continue to connect with one another? As we look forward to 2021, with great hope, as well as continuing care and concern and pain, we are not sure what we will make together as a church community, a city, a country. What I do know is that 2021 is not a brand new start. It's a continuation of 2020. Yes, this is an opportunity to look at the present moment and the future with a fresh vision, to open ourselves to seeing new stories, to telling new stories. Perspective does matter. And yet we are the same people. And this is the same world. And what we create together in 2021 will be made out of the materials of our recent past. All that we so want to let go of, all that we hold close. all that we have learned. And so following this service, Joan and I are going to take this naming of what to hold on to and shred those words as well. Mix them together with the words we have shredded of what we want to let go of, and take all of that torn paper and hold on to it until we are able to meet again in person. And at that point, Joan will do a paper mache project with our children. We have no idea when that will be. We have no idea what that project will be. But we know two things. Our future is formed out of the fullness of our human experience in the past, and that art will be imperfectly beautiful. Friends on the journey, as we go into this new year, we go in as our old selves and thank goodness. For each of us has worth and dignity. Each of us has strength and courage alongside all of our fears, our anxieties, our mistakes. As we go into 2021, let us create beautiful, imperfect art out of this year that has gone before us. May it be so. Amen. Now let us lift our voices in song. How can I keep from singing? The lyrics will appear on the slides.
My life flows on in endless song above earth's lamentation. I hear the real, the far off hymn that hails a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest round me roars, I know the truth that liveth. What though the darkness round me grows, so in the light it giveth. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to the rock I'm clinging. Since love prevails in heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? When tyrants tremble as they hear the bells of freedom ringing, when friends rejoice both far and near, how can I keep from singing? To prison cell and dungeon vile, our thoughts to them are ringing. Sing friends by shame or undefiled, how can I keep from singing? How can I keep from singing?
We drink from wells we did not bring, we did not dig. We sit in the shade of trees we did not plant. As recipients of all we have received from those who have come before us, we are called to share our abundance with those who will come after us. As a voluntary association, our church is sustained through the gifts of the members and friends of this congregation. Your generosity makes it possible for us to hold online worship services, workshops, and small groups, even in these unusual times. Your generosity allows us to be faithful stewards of our historic building so that it will continue to be a place of sanctuary and learning when it once again is safe to gather in person. Your generosity is, please take this moment to visit our website, ufpc.org, and consider clicking on the donate button located on the homepage of our website. Let us open our hearts as these gifts to support the good works of United First Parish Church are joyfully given and gratefully received.
In our joys and sorrows, we heard how much this community matters to many people. So there are many ways to participate in the life and the leadership of our congregation beyond Sunday morning. Some of our ongoing weekly programs are that Joan McDonald creates a weekly children's chapel service for families to watch on their own time during the weekends. Those are all found online, and we'll paste a link there for you. Also, every Thursday afternoon, we hold the Black Lives Matter Standout. The winter hours are from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Is that correct, Claire? Give me a nod. Oh, you're sorry. Okay, I think you can unmute now. No, you can't. Sorry, we have it on different settings. So maybe jump in on the chat, Claire. 2 to 4. They're from 2 to 4 is the winter hours. Thank you, Claire, for your organizing and your silent communication there. I appreciate both things. One of our monthly programs, the writing group, will not be meeting this afternoon. The writing group meets on the first Sunday of the month at 12 generally, but takes January off. Our monthly book group meets this Thursday evening, as they always do on the first Thursday of the month. And you can read more about the book group and other upcoming events in our announcements that are found on the church email list or on the website. And today at 12 noon, after our virtual social hour, we'll have a time of remembering Jane Mudge for those who would like to stay on the Zoom call. And now let's return to that breath of life as we lift our hearts for the benediction with words by Leslie Takahashi Morris. All that we have ever loved and all that we have ever been stands with us on the brink of all we aspire to create. a deeper peace, a larger love, a more embracing hope, a generosity of spirit, and a deeper joy in the life we share. May we go in peace and go in love to be a blessing to the world. Will you join me in singing Carry the Flame as we extinguish our chalice?
Carry